Shalom Havarim and hello friends. It's good to be with you on this Sunday morning or whenever it is you're watching this. I heard an interesting story this week about a woman who was a librarian and she was working at the library, and one day in walked a couple of chickens, and these chickens walked right up to the front desk face to face with this librarian, beak to face maybe, and they said to her, "Buck, buck, buck." And the librarian thought for a minute, and she assumed that they wanted 3 books. So she gave them 3 books, and they put them under their wings, and they walked away. Later that day, the same chickens came back. They walked up to the same librarian, and they said, "Book, book, book." And she just assumed that they still wanted 3 books, so she got them 3 more books, and they walked away. The next day, these chickens came back again, a third time, and they said, "Book, book, 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 book." And this librarian really started wondering what's going on. So she gave them 5 books, they walked away, and she followed them. And she followed those chickens out into the country. She was very quiet and stealthy, and she followed them right to a pond. And they walked out to the pond with these books, and the chickens were saying, "Book, book, book." And they were throwing them at the frogs in the pond. And the frogs would say, "Read it, read it, read it." All right, so I was looking for an egg joke this morning, and that's the first one that came up. It doesn't actually have anything to do with eggs, but it does have to do with chickens, and I'm still not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg. But this morning, the chicken joke came first. But we're going to be talking about eggs a little bit, and you'll see why. You may notice that I am not at the church today. I am at a different location. I am out in the woods. I'm even sitting in my camping chair. We have spent the last couple of nights sleeping in the woods. So we are camping. This is a low-risk kind of trip for us during this COVID-19 pandemic. Felt like we could do this and not be in too much in too much danger. At least not from COVID. There's bears out here. I don't know. But what we're doing here is we need a break. We need a change of scenery, a change of location. Even though it doesn't always feel like we've been working hard, sometimes you just need to press the pause button. We need something that's renewing, something that's refreshing. And I think this is interesting because if you read the creation narrative in the book of Genesis, God even worked a day of rest into that story. You know, on the 7th day, God rested, and so should we. So it's that important. Rest is so important. God worked it even into this creation narrative. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about rest and sharing the workload. I'm looking at the lectionary text for this morning, and it comes to us from Matthew's Gospel. And there's a place where Jesus says to his disciples, he says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Sounds good to me. But he keeps on going. He says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, I started with that chicken joke because I was looking for an egg joke, because when I think of yolks, I think of chicken eggs. And it's not that kind of yolk. It's something that, even though Jesus did at times, at least at one time, compare himself to a mother hen, but it's not that kind of yolk. It's Y-O-K-E. And for those who have grown up in the 20th century, you maybe don't have much experience with yolks. This is the long wooden piece of wood that you would see in like old movies or television shows and pictures that they would have between 2 oxen as they're out plowing the field. And I've seen yokes used for carrying water. I think even like on an episode of Bonanza, there's a scene where Hoss and Little Joe, they carry the water with this yoke across their back, and the buckets of water are hanging off the side. So yokes are used Whenever you're doing heavy lifting, whenever you're doing heavy pulling, when these beasts of burdens like an oxen or two oxen are trying to plow the field, these yokes are used to connect one ox to the other ox, and then they share the work, they share the load. You don't expect one ox to do all the work, they work together. Then when one ox gets tired, the other one can push a little bit harder. And if it's easy, they can both kind of take it easy together. So it's kind of this giving and taking, the sharing of the load. At one point, somebody's going to be very tired. At another point, the other one may be very tired. But these oxen, they share the work as they plow that field, back and forth, back and forth. So remember, a yoke, not a chicken egg, a yoke, Y-O-K-E, is used to share the work, to distribute the weight. So in this passage from Matthew's Gospel, Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." Now Jesus is using this metaphor to describe his teaching. Like, his teaching is called a yoke. And this is a metaphor that was used by other Jewish rabbis at the time. Their teaching was what you would carry with you. It's how you would live your life, and others would participate in that along with you. So Jesus says that his yoke, it's not meant to be a heavy burden. That's not to say it's going to be easy. I mean, plowing a field isn't easy. But he's saying that his yoke is kind of easy compared to others, and his burden is light. So if you are a follower of Jesus and you find following him in your daily life to be burdensome, to be something that you can't do, well, then maybe you're not doing it right. He says, take this yoke upon you, and you're supposed to share this work, share this burden with others. So I think about my life right now, and I've enjoyed the last couple of days out here in the woods. It's been a good break from the daily rituals and routines of home life. But I realize that when I'm taking this break, somebody else has to pick up some work and do a little bit more. Even though it's not much, there's people that are doing things for us. For instance, I don't mean to say it's not much, I know it takes effort on their part, and I'm thankful for that, but somebody's watching our dog right now so that we didn't have to bring him out into the woods. He doesn't travel well, and he's a beagle, and anytime he sees a squirrel, he's gone. So that can be a bit of a challenge to take him camping. A friend is watching our dog. We have a significant garden growing this year. Gardens need work. Gardens need watering. Someone is helping with that. Mail. I don't always think to get the mail stopped in time. Somebody's stopping in, getting our mail, so it at least appears that we're not at home right now. Or it doesn't appear like we're not at home. And the point I'm trying to make is that friends and family are helping. We don't have to do it on our own. People are stepping in and stepping up whenever we get tired, whenever we get weary, and saying, it's my turn to push a little harder on this yoke so you can take a break. My friends, being a follower of Jesus means we're going to get our hands dirty. It means that there is a lot of work to do. Even though Jesus said his yoke is easy, there's always things that we can and should be doing. But one of the best gifts that we have is this gift of others. We don't have to do it on our own. Jesus' yoke, Jesus' teaching, this metaphor is that we are called to help someone else, and we are called to receive help as well. Help one another to bear the load. Share one another's burdens. We all need rest. We all need time away. We all need a break from the rituals and routines of everyday life. And when those times come, remember that there are others around us who are willing and able to step up and say, I will take some of the burden, some of the load off of you right now, so you may rest, if you will do it again for me as well. All right, friends, have a great weekend, and remember to share the load.